Right guys, another battery. Quick backstory. This battery came in on a bike for repair for a customer. The bike needs a new motor on a rear replaced. That's not an issue, obviously. Also, the controller is questionable. I tested the controller out. When testing the controller, I noticed the battery's only giving out 39 volts. As we all know, if a 48 volt battery is only giving 39 volts out to a controller, then chances are it won't turn on because the controller has what's called an LVC, which is low voltage cutoff point, which means unless the battery is over 40 or 41, that controller is not going to turn on regardless whether it's working or not. So the main issue out of all of it is basically why won't this charge as normal, using the normal charge port, and why is it only got 39 volts. The battery was off the road for a couple of weeks due to the rear motor need replacing. It was maybe outdoors for a certain amount of time. So we'll have a quick look. It is a 48 volt 16 amp hour battery, hailong style, no key, battery indicator works, usual stuff. Date of manufacture is the 2021, 7th day of the 2nd month, so this is almost 2 years old. Let's just get into it and we'll take it from there. Obviously I'm thinking straight off the bat, if the voltage is below 40, I'm thinking the cells have basically dropped just below that peak where the BMS won't charge them up no more. If that's the case, easy fix, plug it onto a charger and just top it up just to get it above 41 volts, and then we can let the main charger do its job in the BMS. But we need to test the cells, make sure they're all balanced. It's best to do these ones on camera, and plus it adds to the YouTube collection so far. As always, numbers across the bottom, so if there's any repairs you need doing, feel free to let me know. We're not going to be able to get anything posted back. Do you mind if it's posted in time for Christmas now? Yeah, Royal Mail, not me. We'll just take these last screws out, then I will zoom in, we'll open it up, we'll have a little look. It's 16 amp hours, doesn't say nothing about what type of model cells are supposed to be in yet. There we go. Nicey. Let's just remove the LED indicator from this side. Just makes our life easier. Moving the battery around. 1. And 2. Get the case out the way. Let me see, off the bat, battery's never been touched by no one. Still got the blue wrap from the manufacturer. No signs of any damage, no burnt marks. Feels damp. Let's change the camera angle a second. Let's zoom in and you can see what I mean. Obviously it's not raining indoors, so we'll see if the camera can catch this. It's actually water. Should get a tissue, that'd be an easier test. There's water on the battery on the inside. Don't know why. Might be nothing at all. Might be everything. Let's find a safe place. I'll keep the camera zoomed in a second. When we take this off. Good news is can't smell no burning, nothing like that. Nothing's been shorted. We do need to remove this to get to the BMS though, and to have a look at the overall condition of the battery, just for the fact that it might have been outside at some point. But it looks pretty clean so far. What type of battery is it? It is made out of AliExpress cells, no branded. Not Samsung, not Panasonic, not nothing like that. These are standard BWH. I think you get them off IndieMart. 18650 cells. Probably 2.5 amp hours a piece. The battery's 16 amp hours. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. So 5, 10. Oh, these are 2.2 amp hours. a little lower than I thought. So we'll remove some of this to get to the charging side of things, do a few checks on the battery itself, and hopefully it's just a stupid BMS issue that we can solve right now. Now this is the bike's main concern. The motor is obviously getting replaced. That's just how it is. The other motor is pretty damaged. There's nothing new there. The customer already has a replacement controller just in case the controller is faulty, so there's no downside there. And what we got in here? Right, this is a 48 volt BMS. Who decided to do this? This is what happens when people who build bikes don't know what they're doing. Yeah, and I like how it's clearly labelled so it's easy to explain. This is a 13 series BMS, which basically means there's 13 rows of these. We're going to have to reveal this anyway to make sure there's no water damage. Then isn't, so I'm not concerned, to be honest. So we got 13 rows, row 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. That's what the 13 indicates on top of the BMS, battery management system. 13 lines goes to your 13 rows, nice and easy. And that was the next number, 20 amps. So this BMS can only give out 20 amps of power. Now this has been plugged onto a 1000 watt controller, giving out 35 amps. So already we got a slight inclination of why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's either A, kill the battery completely, or B, wipe itself out, because you're trying to get 32 amps through a BMS, they're only supposed to give out 20. Heating is an issue, power is an issue, the bike cutting on and off is an issue, anything setting on fire is an issue. So there's one mistake straight away, wrong control, wrong battery for the wrong setup. Let's do some general tests a second. Multimeter on, just going to zoom back out a second. Right, multimeter. Now we need to see the voltage from the first minus to the last positive, as always, so that's nice and easy. We can just follow the line. Okay, this one is our last negative. And over this side is our first positive. Cool. So the battery overall has 40.15 volts in it. That's from the first positive to the last negative. Now we need to check our rows to make sure they're all equal. I could tap and go on each side of the rows, going all the way down the battery like that. It's too disruptive. There's really no need. We can use the BMS leads instead. So we'll just disconnect that a second. Right, see what I mean about a 20 amp BMS on a 35 amp battery? That has melted to the top of there. Completely from overheating. Melted. The only thing saving that from bridging against the cells is the fiberglass 1mm thin sheet. Otherwise that's gone. Whole battery gone, and bike, and anything attached to it. Don't put a 20 amp battery BMS, don't put a 20 amp rated battery on a 35 amp 1000 watt setup or 1500 watt setup. 2 seconds of reading lets you know that doesn't sound right straight away, but it gets done. Which means this bike probably have always been dying on its ass and never been doing what it's supposed to be doing, because it's never had the correct amount of current supplied to it. Anyway, right, so we already know it's going to be 40 from our last positive to our first minus, 40.14. Now we need to check our rows. So all rows need to be identical. Make sure we get it on in a second. Really? Right there. See if we can get on these a bit better. Move some stuff around. Let's put that there. As you can see, this is the last one of the day, so this one's getting done pretty quick. So row 1 is 3.065. So row 2 should be 3.065. It's not, it's 3.1, so we're already out of balance by 100 millivolts. I'm not going to bitch about that too much. Some BMSs don't like to charge outside of 100 millivolts, so that could be the issue alone. 3.1, 3 volts, sorry. That's row 3. Row 4 is 3.1. Row 5 is 3. Is row 6 3.1? No, it's still 3. 3.1. So this is way out of balance. And a simple reason is this is the wrong battery for the bike. 3.0. 3.0. 3.1. Next row. 3.0. 3.0. 3.1. Right. The battery will not charge because the pack is completely out of balance. Some rows are 3.1, some are 3.0. Some BMSs don't care within 500 millivolts. Some decent BMSs care within 100 millivolts. Some good BMSs knock it down to 0.10 millivolts. So this BMS is, right, it's hard to explain. This BMS is not broken, it's functional. But that does not belong on this bike at all, pulling 1000 watts. The battery will always have issues, the bike will always cut out, this battery will always drain unevenly, as in the cells will never drain equal amounts. So even if you do balance the battery and make them all 3.1s across the board, after a month, maybe 2, from charging and discharging it, the levels will never be even again because this is trying to give out way too much power per cell. Let me find out the rating for the cells. Well, I'm guessing, let me see. This is only supposed to give out 20 amps. Divide 20 by 5, which is how many you've got in a row. These are probably only supposed to be giving out 5 amps a piece, these cells. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 5 for headroom. Yeah, this battery is not right for this bike. We can fix it, obviously. Yeah, we can fix it. There's no problem there. And we could put a new wheel on the bike, there's no problem there, and wind up a controller, there's no problem there. But everything costs money, and this will still have an issue again in a month's time. Regardless of a new wheel, new controller, new anything, this will still always have a problem because it's the wrong battery for that bike. Yeah, needs Samsung, at least. So we'll leave that there, contact the customer, see what they want to do. But apart from that, it's, if the go-ahead's there, replace the motor, get this battery best as, unless they want to change it, or just get it best as, knowing full well that even though we're replacing the motor and the controller after a month or 2, this is still going to fail. This belongs on a 500 watt bike max. Yeah, we'll see what I want to do. We'll take it from there, and we'll leave that one there.